करो कि आप कहां पे कंफर्टेबल हो। बट मैं क्या बोल रहा हूं कि जो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स होता है वो एलसीएम मेथड से सिंप्लीफाइड हो जाता है। 3 स्टेप आपको समझ के रखना है। दिस इज वीडियो नंबर 1 इन द सीरीज ऑफ टाइम एंड वर्क, अ रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक फॉर योर सिलेक्शन बिकॉज नन ऑफ द एप्टीट्यूड पेपर कैन बी डिजाइंड विदाउट हैविंग क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम टाइम एंड वर्क, एंड दैट इज व्हाट दिस वन इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और जब इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है तो इसको हम बड़े अच्छे से पढ़ेंगे। तो लेट अस गेट स्टार्टेड एंड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द अजम्पशंस। जो प्रॉब्लम बताएगा नहीं बट वो आपको समझ में आना चाहिए। अगर कोई क्वेश्चन बोलता है कि A finishes a piece of work in 5 days, then the assumption is A is going to be equally efficient throughout the time period. जितना काम पहले दिन करेगा A, उतना ही काम दूसरे दिन करेगा, उतना ही काम तीसरे दिन करेगा, and so forth and so on until unless stated. अगर काम बोल रहा है कि पहले दिन A will be finishing half of the work, then that's a different thing. अगर वो बोला नहीं जा रहा है, your assumption should be that A is gonna be equally efficient throughout the time period. Is that okay? Now, let us read this problem. This one says that A completes a piece of work in 5 days. A does a piece of work in 5 days, whereas B does in 10 days. The same work. And your problem out here is, in how many days A and B collectively will be able to finish the work. Now, the first number that might come in your brain is 5 plus 7. Not 5 plus 7, 5 plus 10 divided by 2, which is 7.5 days. हो सकता है आपके दिमाग में अभी ये आंसर आया हो कि भाई A and B दोनों मिलके काम को कितने दिन में खत्म कर देंगे? 7.5 डेज में कर देंगे। आया? Now, please tell me this. If A alone can finish the work in 5 days, and when I'm hiring B with A, my purpose is that the work should be completed in less than 5 days. भाई अगर 5 दिन से कम में काम कराना है तभी तो मैं बी की हायरिंग करूंगा, अदरवाइज तो मेरा काम ए कर ही रहा है 5 दिन में। सो 7.5 कैन नेवर बी द आंसर। डू यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट? इट विल ऑलवेज बी लेस देन 5 डेज। इसका ये मतलब अगर 7.5 डेज में हुआ ना तो इसका ये मतलब है कि एक तो बी कुछ कर नहीं रहा, ऊपर से काम को खराब कर रहा है जितना काम ए कर रहा है। सो 7.5 is not the right answer. What should be the right answer then? So I have got 3-4 methods. You have to see them very patiently because यही building block है हमारे पूरे के पूरे टॉपिक का। So the first method is ratio method. Now, problem says that A does the entire work in 5 days. तो अगर ये 5 days में काम को complete करता है, in 1 day, A is going to be completing how much? 1/5 of the work. Isn't it? It's pretty simple to figure it out. And problem tells you that B does the entire work in how many days? 10 days. So B in 1 day is going to be completing 1/10 of the work. So B is going to be doing 1/10 of the work in 1 day. Is there any problem out here? I don't think so. Right? And since you have hired A and B both, so collectively A and B now in 1 day would be doing how much work? Understand this. 1/5 of the work is being done by A, and 1/10 of the work is being done by B. So both of them are going to be participating in this process. And if you simplify this, so 5 and 10, LCM is going to be 10. This is going to be 2 plus 1. Collectively, they are going to be completing 3/10 of the work. Does this make sense to you? If you hire both of them, then in 1 day, 3/10 of the work is going to be completed. Now, if this is the scenario, what is that I should be writing? I should be writing that if 3/10 of work A and B collectively, if they are doing 3/10 of the work in 1 day, in how many days the entire work is going to be completed? So I would say that if I will have to finish the work, then 3/10, when it goes on the other side of equality, it becomes 10/3 days. And if we simplify this further, It is coming out as 3, 1 by 3 days. Or what could be another interpretation? It could also be written as 3 plus 1 by 3 days. So it is not 7.5 days. It rather is 3 full days and 1/3 of the 4th day. तो 4th डे भी पूरा नहीं लगने वाला, 4th डे का 1/3 आते आते द एंटायर वर्क इज गोइंग टू बी completed, provided this is the scenario. I hope you're understanding this. That's my ratio method. What did I say? What did I say out here? I started by stating that A does in 5 days. So in 1 day, how much A is going to be doing? B does the entire work in 10 days. So in 1 day, B does 1/10 of the work. And I said that since we have hired both of them, A and B, दोनों के दोनों काम कर रहे हैं. So when you simplify, you will get 3/10 of the work is being done by both of them collectively in a day. Now, if this is the scenario, 3/10 of the work in 1 day, so the entire work is going to be completed in how many days? 10 by 3 days. Answer is done. Right? Now, let us talk about the second method. So these methods must be understood in separation. कभी ना कभी ये मेथड काम आ सकता है, कभी एक वो दूसरा मेथड काम आ सकता है. तो आपको 3-4 ही मेथड सारे के सारे सीख के रखने हैं. Now understand this. If entire work is what? 100%. And I say that A does in 5 days, A does 100% of work, isn't it? So in 1 day, A is going to be doing how much? 20% of the work. 100 by 5, 20% of the work is going to be completed by A in 1 day. इसमें तो समझने में कोई प्रॉब्लम है नहीं हमारे को. How about B? B in 10 days does 100% of work. Is it okay? So in 1 day, B is going to be doing 10% of the work. 10% of the work. है ना ये simple? And since you have hired both of them, what is going to be happening? A and B collectively are going to be completing. A and B collectively in 1 day. A does 20% of the work. B does 10% of the work. So collectively they are going to be doing 30% of the work. Does this make sense? Right? बड़ी आसानी से सिंपल तरीके से आपने कॉन्सेप्ट को बिल्ड करते जाइए. ये कभी भी जाके कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाएगा. राइट? So in 1 day 30% of the work is being done, and the entire work obviously this is 100%. I would say that hold on a second. I would say that if both of these two individuals, A and B, can do 30% of the work in 1 day, then we will have to find out this can be written as 30 by 100, or can be written as mark of product in 1 day. Does this make sense to you? So 3/10 further बात तो घूम फिर के वही आ गई ना कि 3/10 of the work is being done in how many days? It is being done in 1 day, and hence the entire work is going to be done in how many days? 10 by 3 days. Isn't it the same answer that we found out in the previous slide? Right? यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? You're taking the entire work as 100%. Now the problem with this method is, what if you take a value which is not dividing 100? What if A does in 13 days and B does in 17 days? So if you do 100 by 13 and 100 by 17, you will be having decimal value. So this is where this method would not be very helpful. But हाँ ये method आपको पता जरूर होना चाहिए. Now, what is going to be, this is my favorite method, and this is where we will be solving the most complicated problem through our LCM method. So you have to see this one really very carefully. Now A says, not A says, A does in 10 days, no, 5 days. A does in 5 days, whereas B does in 10 days, right? Now there are certain steps that you will have to take in LCM method. Step number one. Step number one. You need to take LCM. Take LCM of days that are mentioned in the problem. Days that are given to you. Why we are going to be doing this? 2 मिनट में डिस्कस करते हैं. Step number 2. You say that the LCM is the total work. LCM is the total work. Step number 3. Find the work being done by these individuals. A and B दिया होगा, कुछ नाम दिया होगा, individuals separately. समझ में आई बात आपको? ये पहले 3 स्टेप हम लगाते हैं, फिर उसके बाद में बात करेंगे. So what did I say? My step number 1. Step number 1 is I will have to take LCM of days that are mentioned in the problem. And what is this value? What is this value? It is pretty simple for you to find out. LCM of 5 and 10 comes out as 10. So that's my step number 1. What is going to be my step number 2? I would say that total work is 10 units. Does this make sense to you? My second step is complete. Now what is my third step out here? What did I say? I will have to find out how much work A is doing in one day and how much work B is doing in one day. भाई इतना निकाल दिया तो हमारा काम चलेगा. So A, understand this, A does in 5 days, A does 10 units of the work. So in one day A is going to be doing how many units? 2 units. सिंपल हुआ ये बात. अच्छा शुरू में कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, वैसे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड तो है भी नहीं है, बट आपको स्टेप्स थोड़े समझने पड़ सकते हैं इसके लिए. एंड इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग, let us talk about B also. What is B doing out here? What is B doing out here? B does the entire work in how many days? 10 days. So in 10 days B does 10 units, and hence in one day B does 1 unit of the work. Is that okay? And since you have hired A and B both, A and B collectively, understand, this is 2 units by A, 2 units by A and 1 unit by B, and hence A and B collectively will be doing 2 plus 1, 3 units in how many days? They will be doing 3 units in one day. But what is the total work that you have taken? The total work that you have taken is 10 units. So they will have to complete the entire work, which is 10 units. Now, if that is the scenario, then 10 units will be completed by A and B in how many days? 1 by 3 into 10, which is coming out as again as 10 by 3 days. Did you understand what I'm talking about? So what did I say? I said method number 1 is ratio, method number 2 is percentage, and method number 3 is LCM. आप डिसाइड करो कि आप कहां पे कंफर्टेबल हो. बट मैं क्या बोल रहा हूं कि जो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स होता है वो एलसीएम मेथड से सिंप्लीफाइड हो जाता है. 3 स्टेप आपको समझ के रखना है. एक, you will have to find out LCM of days that are mentioned in the problem. 2, you say that this LCM is going to be the entire work. These are the total units that we will have to do. And 3, you need to find out the rates of the individual. A एक दिन में कितना वो यूनिट करेगा, B एक दिन में कितना यूनिट करेगा, C एक दिन में कितना यूनिट करेगा, and then you go back to the problem as to what problem is talking about, right? Now, I hope you're understanding this. I have got this problem for you. I'm going to be solving this question through these 3 methods, and you will have to be very patient with me. A does a piece of work in 10 days and B is 25% more efficient. then in how many days B alone will be able to finish the work. So those of you who are saying if somehow 7.5 days has popped up in your brain, this is the wrong answer. If so आपने क्या सोचा होगा कि if B is 25% more efficient, तो B को 25% less time लगेगा उसको खत्म करने के लिए. So this is where the entire system is gone wrong. Now understand, I made one video of percentage. Go to the I button here and understand the concept of that video, जो आपको एक नया पर्सपेक्टिव देगा ऐसे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने का. बट आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू बी सॉल्विंग दिस प्रॉब्लम थ्रू दैट पर्टिकुलर मेथड. बट आपके पास 3 मेथड से मैं इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर रहा हूं. 1 एलसीएम, 2 रेशियो, 3 परसेंटेज. और बाकी जो 4th मेथड है आप इस वाली वीडियो से सीखिए. नाउ 7, what did I say? 7.5 is not the right answer. So what is that I should be doing? My first method out here is ratio. So let us try to simplify this question through ratio method. Through ratio method. And we should be writing, the initial problems should be written step by step. आपको बीच में कोई भी स्टेप ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप उसको पास ऑन कर दो. आप इसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप लिखने की कोशिश करो. A does a piece of work in 10 days. So I would say that A does the entire work in how many days? A does entire work in 1 day, 10 days. Hence, A in 1 day will be doing 1/10 of the work. Does this make sense? And B, who is 25% more efficient. What is the meaning of saying that somebody is 25% more efficient? वो अगर B 25% ज्यादा efficient है A से, तो this means that B is going to be doing the work which A is doing plus 25% more. So 1/10 तो B करेगा ही करेगा जितना काम A कर रहा है. And then because this person is 25% more efficient, this person is going to be doing 25% more work. And what is going to be 25% more work? It is 1/10 of the work. Now if you simplify this thing, you're going to be getting what? 1/10 plus 25% can be written as how much? 1/4 of 1/10. If you simplify this, what are you going to be getting? 1/10 अगर मैं common ले लूं, it is going to be 1 plus 1/4. And if you simplify this further, what are you going to be getting? It is going to be 5/4. So this is coming out as 1/8. So B does 1/8 of the work in 1 day. In 1 day, B does 1/8 of the work. So what is that you should be writing? 1/8 work is being done in 1 day. So the entire work is going to be done. 8 comes on this side of equality, तो ये numerator में आ जाएगा, and this will be 8 days. So what is the right answer? Instead of 7.5, the right answer here is 8 days, right? आपने क्या किया? आपने बस यहां पे यही सीखा कि भाई अगर simplified है, आपने सीखा कि A does in 10 days, A does the entire work in 10 days. So in 1 day, A is going to be doing 1/10 of the work, and then you bring B, who is 25% more efficient. So B is going to be doing the work which A does plus 25% more work. And if you simplify this, this is coming out as 1/8. So B does in 1 day 1/8 of the work. So the entire work is going to be completed by B in 8 days. That's method number 1. What is going to be my method number? My LCM method. This video could be a bit better, better also. But then you have got to be really very patient. यहां से अगर आप समझ गए ना तो बाकी तो सारे के सारे वीडियोस आप लगा डालोगे. My second method is the percent method. This says that A does the entire work in 10 days. and the entire work we should be taking as 100%. So A does the 100% work in 10 days. So in one day, A is going to be doing how much? In one day, A does 10% of work. And if you simplify, 10% is 10 by 100, 1/10 आ गया. तो ये बात ना घुमा फिरा के सेम चीजें बोली जा रही है, right? And then comes B. B in one day, because B is 25% more efficient, B is going to be doing 10% of the work, जितना का A कर ही रहा है, and then B is going to be doing 25% of 10%. Now this is where you have got to be careful. अगर आपने वो परसेंटेज की वीडियोस नहीं देखी है 10, तो प्लीज गो एंड वॉच दोस वीडियोस. दे विल बी हेल्पिंग यू टू बिल्ड योर कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ परसेंटेज. सो व्हाट इज दैट आई एम सेइंग हियर? 10% of, sorry, it is going to be 25% of, wait, 25% of 10% of the work, right? If you simplify this, it is 10%, and 25% of 10%, it is going to be 2.5%. भाई इसका 1 plus 25% is 1 by 4, 10%. इसको सिंप्लीफाई करोगे, आंसर कितना निकल के आएगा? आंसर निकल के आएगा 10% plus 2.5%. Now this value is going to be nothing but 12.50%. Is that okay? So B does in one day 12.50%. And if you will have to find out in how many days B does the entire work, so it's pretty simple for you to find out 12.5% of work in one day. Now अब आपको ये लग रहा होगा कि complicated हो गया, isn't it? But you have got to be patient with all the methods. What did I say? कहीं ना कहीं कोई ना कोई तो एक अच्छे से फिटिंग कर जाएगा. 12.5 into 100, and if you simplify this, what is this answer? 8 days. That's your method number 2. हाँ, ये थोड़ा लंबा गया, but since we are learning, so सीखने में तो कोई गड़बड़ है नहीं. कोई मेथड हो सकता है कोई किसी और प्रॉब्लम में ये बगैर पेन उठाए आपको आंसर दे दे, है ना? Now what is going to be my third method? What did I say? The LCM method is going to be my third method. और LCM में आपने क्या सीखा? Step number one, you will be taking LCM of days that are mentioned in the problem. और प्रॉब्लम में तो सिर्फ यही बोला जा रहा है, A does the entire work in 10 days and B which is 25% more efficient. So मैं क्या करूंगा? LCM 10 का 10 लोगे तो वो बात बनेगी वही. आपका LCM आएगा 10. आप क्या बोलोगे? Total work is going to be 10 units. See the magical method. And now you know that A, because A does the entire work in 10 days, 10 units of the work A will be doing in 10 days. तो A एक दिन में कितना करेगा? अब आपके पास ये चीज समझ में आनी चाहिए. 1 unit. So how much work B is going to be doing in 1 day? B is going to be doing 1 unit तो करेगा ही करेगा, ठीक है जी. 1 unit के साथ क्या करेगा? 25% more करेगा. So 25% of 1 unit. So this one is coming out as 1. 25% is 1 by 4. If you simplify this, this is coming out as 5 by 4, which is 5 by 4 का मतलब कितना? 1.25 units. बात घूम फिर के वही आ गई, but ये सिंपल तरीके से आ गया. So if A does, now you may not even have to do the calculation. Now think in your brain. A does 1 unit of the work. B who is 25% more efficient. तो 25% अगर ज्यादा efficient है तो 0.25 unit ज्यादा करेगा. 0.25 unit अगर ज्यादा करेगा, so the total work which B will be doing in 1 day is going to be 1.25%. काम खत्म हो गया. And what is the total work that you have taken? 10 units. So at this rate, how many, not how much, 1.25 units in how many days? 1 day. So 1 unit of the work is going to be completed in how many days? 1 over 1.25 days, and hence 10 units of the work is going to be done in how many days? सो 10 डिवाइडेड बाई 1.25 सिंप्लीफाई कर लो, आंसर आएगा 8। आपका काम खत्म हो गया। सो व्हाट इज दैट यू आर लर्निंग? यू लर्न 3 मेथड्स। रेशियो मेथड which is always going to be applicable, LCM method which is always going to be more efficient method, percentage method जो कभी काम करेगा कभी काम नहीं करेगा। Now I'm going to be talking about the 4th method before we move ahead and we call it a day in this for this particular video. This method is literally very efficient. अब आप ना इसको ऐसे देखो, I would call my 4th method as efficiency method. Efficiency method. Understand? Work, अगर work and efficiency they are inversely proportional to each other. भाई जो ज्यादा efficient होगा उसको तो कम दिन लगेगा काम करने में. They are कोरिलेशनल, रेशियो एंड प्रोपोर्शन की वो वीडियो जो हमने बनाई थी, डायरेक्ट रिलेशनल एंड इनडायरेक्ट रिलेशन, यू कैन फाइंड इट आउट हियर. सो these two variables are indirectly relational to each other. Now what is that? I can tell you this. You write down ratio of efficiency of A and B, and let me assume here that A is 100% efficient. What difference does it make if I say that A is 100% efficient? It doesn't make any difference. So A is 100% efficient, and since B is 25% more efficient, B is going to be what? 1.125% efficient. So step number 1, I'm going to be finding out what is going to be the efficiency ratio of A and B. अगर आप इसको simplify करोगे ना तो ये निकल के आएगा 4:5 efficiency का ratio. Does this make sense? And you also learned that work days and efficiency they are inversely relational to each other. So जब आपको निकालना होगा days का ratio आप कैसे निकालोगे? ये आएगा 1/4:1/5. जो ज्यादा एफिशिएंट होगा वो कम दिन लगाएगा, जो कम एफिशिएंट होगा वो ज्यादा दिन लगाएगा. और आपने अपने रेशियो की क्लासेस में वीडियो नंबर 5 ऑफ रेशियो in where you have learned how to simplify this, what did I say? You just need to do the cross multiplication. ये कितना आ गया? 5:4. So what is going to be the ratio of days required by A and B? It is coming out as 5:4. And if it is 5:4, then if A takes 5x days, B takes 4x days, right? And the value of 5x is given to you. What is the value of 5x? 5x is given to you in the problem as 10 days. If it is 10, the value of x becomes what? The value of x becomes 2. And if you plug in this value here, the total days for B comes out as 8 days. So what is that you're learning through this method? You're learning that these two variables, अगर उनको efficiency का ratio पता है तो लिख दो और उसको reverse कर दो so that you find out in how many days they are going to be completing the work. Simple हो गया. So now you learn the 4th method also. Ratio, percentage, LCM and efficiency method. So we will go ahead with these 4 methods in our classes now. So in the next video I'm going to be solving some problems जहां पे हम ये डिसाइड करने की कोशिश करेंगे कि इन चार के चारों जो मेथड्स हैं उनमें से बेटर मेथड कौन सा है. बेटर इन अ बेटर सिचुएशन. कोई ऐसा सिचुएशन होगा जहां पे रेशियो इज गोइंग टू बी मोर एफिशिएंट मेथड. कहीं पे होगा जहां पे एलसीएम अच्छे से काम करेगा. कहीं पे हो गया कि आप एफिशिएंसी लगा दोगे, आपका एक स्टेप में प्रॉब्लम लग जाएगा. सो वी आर गोइंग टू बी लर्निंग एज टू व्हाट वी शुड बी डूइंग सो दैट वी हैव अ थॉरो अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि कब हमें कौन सा मेथड लगाना है. राइट? आई होप यू लर्न समथिंग इन दिस वीडियो. आई एम गोना वॉच यू इन द सेकंड वीडियो. टिल देन बाय बाय एंड टेक केयर.